Welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 969-KTRS.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement, your live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. Our offices are located in beautiful, sunny, quickly warming second day of the PGA Champions Tour event at Norwood Hills, downtown Olivet, Missouri. I am a 40-plus year veteran of financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm joined by my very favorite. Yeah, I've been calling you my favorite for a long time, haven't I?
Well, not that long. I'm not that old.
I called you that when you were little.
Again.
We're lucky your sister doesn't listen. My very favorite oldest prodigal daughter, Erin, who also is a fee-based financial planner and a good laugher.
Well, you know, you got the jokes this morning. You're all hyped up.
Thank you, babe.
We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written step-by-step strategy, a real game plan that has several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate. Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one they can count on, so they can do all the things they'd like to do during retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their healthcare needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to supplement their medical coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, with Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Babe, good morning.
Good morn.
Solemn day in this country.
It is.
9/11, 20th year anniversary of the terrorist attack on New York and Washington, D.C. And obviously our hearts go out, as all Americans do, to those families that have lost folks. And for all of us that unfortunately had to witness this horrible event.
What I thought was very nice was I happened to be driving on 70 a couple of days ago when it sounded like several 100,000 people from St. Louis and St. Charles came out to honor a fallen Marine that was local who was being transported from the airport to a funeral home. And it was nice to see all of the service workers and firefighters, police officers, and just people out there to support the family.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great country, and we love our fallen heroes.
That's right.
And so we obviously honor them today and in various ways. I, of course, will be honoring them today at my favorite country club.
By relaxing with the freedom that they've provided you? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. We know this is the second day of the Ascension Charity Golf Classic, the Champions Tour. Mm. The Legends are playing at Norwood Hills. You can still get tickets if you like, and it was just fun. I was there yesterday afternoon, and it was fun to watch the professionals do their thing, not only on the golf course, but really on the practice greens, on the practice range, and it's just a fun atmosphere. Lots of seating, lots of good places to watch.
And it's not 150,000 degrees out. It seems like it'll be a nice day.
No, it certainly isn't. And they know that their commitment, Emerson and the other folks have made a commitment for this to be a 4-year event. So this is the inaugural. Don't miss it. Go out and have some fun. And today, obviously, is the second round. And tomorrow is the third and final round because the champions only play 3 rounds, not 4.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like the grown-ups don't play as much as the kids.
Hmm. I see. What,
Best-
do they get a special colored jacket for this or a special trophy prize?
They get dough.
I guess that's better than all of
Yeah,
that.
and hopefully what will
And
happen,
glory.
and what'll be neat is we know that we're getting some nice comments about the course, which is great, and this is my home course, so I love that. But it's going to be fun. It's also going to be on TV starting at 2:30 today on ESPN.
Another chance for St. Louis to show off its support of sports.
We're big supporters of
sports
golf here. So again, we hope everybody has a fun day while they're thinking about, the important things, as
Right.
well as enjoying a beautiful Saturday summer day in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. One of
So
the
thank you
last
so
few.
much. And as you can tell, we're live and local. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are open. 931-5877, star 5877. From your cell phones or 84126 from the increasingly popular and terribly used.
Terribly used.
Yeah,
Why is it terribly used?
because the Team Jeffers aren't on it long enough.
I'm sure
They're showing up today.
they will show, even if they don't show up on the text, they are with you in spirit always.
I really do appreciate
You
that.
know,
We do
we
appreciate
all
their
do.
support. And just as a reminder, all of our clients, and new as well as prospective clients, folks like you, they're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They would like to retire or they're already retired. And as I mentioned, we create a game plan for them so they can have a fun end goal is successfully and financially work for retirement. And it's fun.
It is fun.
And we're going to talk about the fun that we like to have today because planning for retirement is exciting. But before we get into the excitement today, I do want to remind everybody that there are ways you can keep in touch with us during the week.
The best is our newsletter. We send it out every single month electronically. It's called The Coach's Corner. If you go to our website, jblfinancial.com, you can click on the lower left-hand side of the screen in the pop-up box that appears that says Sign Up, or scroll to the middle of the page and click Sign Up for our monthly newsletter. We keep the last 6 to 12 months archived for you, so if you click...
Or your viewing, printing, or downloading convenience.
That's right. So if you go to our newsletter section, you'll see the archive available for you, or you can have it sent by email. The nice thing is with our email, we've added some additional content when you receive the newsletter. You might get a clip from a previous show, something related to the newsletter itself as well, just as some additional information for you.
Which is a lot of fun. And Aaron, I know that we have 4 articles that we highlight each month.
That's right. The first is an infographic, 401k plan participation trends. So just kind of reflecting.
Good to know.
Exactly. The next is, and pretty important for many individuals still employed in this area, company stock and your retirement strategy, because we know with many major employers in the St. Louis metro area, many individuals have the opportunity through their 401ks to participate in company stock selection, sometimes at a discount even. Grandparent 529 plans get a boost under new FAFSA rules.
There you go.
So if you are
Good article.
a grandparent and you'd like to assist your grandchildren with college education,
You
here's
were
some
waiting for me. You were
additional-
just waiting for me, weren't you?
really just
You
open
thought
it.
I was going to say something really?
One, in a more positive mindset, might consider that a gift.
Yes. You mean like a softball?
I was serving up a softball to you. I was just serving it right up. And what did you do? You mocked me for it. Never again. So much for that. A map of your family is the last article. No, this is not a laughing matter. This is actually serious. A map for your family. Really
Okay, I would love to have grandchildren. Okay, I said it.
You really held out there. That was impressive work.
It came through. What can I tell you?
Some things cannot be held in.
No.
Have to come to light.
You don't have to wait.
The last... I'm not even going to respond. I'm not even going to say anything back to that aside from the last article is, in fact, relatively important in that it really talks about not so much your will and your trust, but really creating a centralized place for you to put all of your personal information, your account information, so the beneficiaries of your estate can find it easily and really hopefully reduce the stress for them at probably a very stressful time knowing that they've lost a loved one. So,
you know how my stress could be reduced, honey?
A nap?
Uh-huh. That wasn't what I was thinking.
Oh, listen to this. This is just proving the transparency of the text line, even though I am the one monitoring it.
Uh-huh.
I promise, there's a promise here. I promise to pledge allegiance to Team Jeff
Uh-huh.
if you can find a way for me to retire at age 39 with just $120,000.
Sure, I can.
We're all waiting, especially this texter.
Sit right back there with your tail. You know what I'm talking about, honey?
Gilligan's Island?
You know that song,
yes,
too.
I do. It's a tale of a fateful trip.
That's right. Go to Gilligan's Island, 120,000. I don't think so.
But that's an impressive sum to have saved at 39 years old.
Yeah.
Just to mention that.
It certainly is something to be very proud of.
And something that's going to, there's something to they call it the time value of money, meaning over time, you have something invested, it's going to grow simply based on the fact that, you're continuing to contribute over a period of time. It's hopefully invested in a way that'll give you the opportunity to continue to earn returns. So you have if you kind of think about it I like to think about your money like a boulder rolling down the hill, right? It's picking things up as it goes. Well, you've got a pretty sizable boulder that can start picking up some nice debris to make it bigger and bigger as you roll towards retirement.
Like families getting bigger.
Oh, my God.
It was a Team Jeff motion, so...
It was a Team Jeff moment? Is that what
Yeah, I was trying to bond with the texter.
I feel like the texter should be more bonded to me as we were closer in age. But,
Exactly.
if you want to throw your lot in with this guy over here, then that's fine with me. Others have done it, been successful.
That's right. Wouldn't be necessarily such a bad move. Again, we do have 4 articles. We call it the Coach's Corner. Easy to access. Just go to our website, jblfinancial.com. Click on that floating icon, Coach's Corner newsletter, or bottom left-hand corner. But you might want to go to the upper right-hand corner because that's where the Contact Us section is.
That's right. If you click on Contact Us, you can send us an email, a question, a comment, and we promise to return within 24 to 48 business hours to either get you set up for a coaching session, get that question answered, or at least thank you for listening and having a comment on what we've talked about.
Yeah, and honey, I do want to apologize because I think that
I deserve it.
I think that this whole thing with not having grandchildren yet at this point.
Okay.
I mean, I know it isn't getting dull for the audience because they're rooting for Team Jeff here. But if at some point in time, if it was to happen, I'd be asking for the next one.
Right. What have you done for me lately? And isn't it nice to know, listeners, that we don't gauge our content based on what you might like to hear?
So the beat goes on.
Exactly.
As they say. Very good. But again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. And, the truth is that...
Should just rename it like the Team Jeff line.
Well, it's so fun because I do want to talk about the fun of retirement today.
Well,
and really the fun of planning for retirement. Mm-hmm. And if you do come in and visit with us during a coaching session, which we'd love for you to do, if you're 55 and older, you're within 10 years of retirement, you want to retire,
getting ready for it,
you get to join in the fun.
You know what the best part of Team Jeff is?
No.
That I get to say your name.
Yeah, right.
I can't call it Team Dad.
I never called my dad Bob. I didn't even know what it was until I was 25, so it's okay. But Dad's good.
Okay.
Well, great. I guess why don't we get on to our first topic? I mean, I keep moving the pages so that you keep moving the pages.
And I'm trying to follow along with you. So pick pick one of these excellent topics. They don't want to hear any more babble.
I do appreciate you being awake this morning. So
here I am, ready to go.
So why don't we just start with the secret? And I mean the secret.
The secret formula. I know.
The secret formula of retirement. I think we should give it to them. I mean, most financial shows, i.e. almost everyone but us,
they make you write in or call in or request something to get your information.
Yep. We're going to give you the secret right now.
So what's everyone's real goal in retirement?
To replace 100% of their after-tax current income. That's a goal.
That's
Can
it.
I keep
The
can I
same
ha-
lifestyle.
Right. I want to keep the same lifestyle. I want to spend what I'm spending today, and I want to continue that until I'm dead.
Right. I want to live what you might consider an enhanced life because now you've cut work out.
Right.
But that's the only thing that you want to cut out.
So the secret is to plan to get that money.
Right.
Really,
So
it really, honestly, it's really that simple. It isn't what percentage of my income
right, as opposed
do
to
I
a
have
difficult
or-
as opposed to a difficult calculation where you're saying, oh, you need 80%, 90%, some percentage of your current income. The inflow isn't the important piece here. The outflow is what's
Right.
truly important. So
What are you spending?
there are a couple of ways that you could figure this out.
Sure.
The first way might be if you just look at your bills over a 2 different month period. So maybe you take October and June, like random
Right.
months. You might want to avoid Christmas or a month in which you know that you're going to take a vacation just because those have elevated spending. We can work that back in later. But you want to take 2 average
And
months.
also, depending on if your mortgage is paid off or not, if you're paying your real estate taxes as under an escrow, or if you're doing
Right.
it once a year.
Right, we can work all of those extra numbers back
Right.
in, but let's start with what's it cost to run your household
Well,
on a
let's
daily
say
basis.
you like doing everything but looking at your checkbook or electronically or otherwise.
So then here's an even easier way. Well, I mean, you still have to take a quick glance at your checkbook, but this is a little easier, which is you say, okay, let's start January of last year and look at December of last year. Did your check balance increase, decrease, or stay the same? If it stayed the same, that means you're spending what you're bringing home, which is fine because most people are saving before their paycheck is put into their bank account because
Yes.
they're saving in their 401ks, 403bs, 457s at work, and then they're receiving the balance of their pay.
Yes.
If you see a decrease in your checking account balance, you want to consider that because is that negative cash flow or is that just an anomaly because of some certain spending? But if you see a substantial or even considerable amount of increase in your balance from January 1st to December 31st, that probably indicates that you are spending less every month than what you're bringing home. So you'll want to divide that by 12 and factor that in because we don't need to save in retirement. We just need to not spend.
Right. So the second measure, if you don't want to go through your checkbook, just grab your pay stub. How much you depositing into your bank?
That's
Once a
after
week.
taxes, after everything's withdrawn.
Right. That net amount every
Mhm.
once a month, twice a month, however many times you get paid. That's your baseline. And as Aaron said, if you find that you're actually saving money after taxes, we pull that out.
Right.
We come out with a net.
Well, now
That's
that we
it. I mean that in theory, that really
that is step one.
that is the secret. Once you figured that out, that number. Step 2 is
We have to gross that number back up for taxes because we want to make sure that
federal and state income tax.
right, just as you are receiving your paycheck net of your federal and state taxes, we would like to make sure that you can receive that same net number after you've paid your federal and state taxes.
So we push it up by 20%, which is actually a little high
Most of the time, because we find most clients are falling
in the 15%.
in the 15, no higher.
Right.
Most of them are in the 10% tax bracket.
Right, because their income level, that number is less than $8,000 a month.
That's right, because we're looking at about
Right.
$89,000 to file jointly as a 10% tax bracket.
So there you are. Now, if you're in Illinois, it's even lower because you're not paying taxes on withdrawals from IRA assets.
So once you have grossed your magic number up for taxes, the very final thing that you'll want to do is multiply it by 12.
Right.
Because you've got your monthly income multiplied by 12 gives you your annual income need.
So let's take Bob and Sally as an example. The question is, am I there? Have I accumulated enough? So let's say that let's say that Bob and Sally today, between the two of them,
They
their
need
net-
about $8,000 a month.
That's their net spending. We gross that up by 20%, of course, and that comes out to $9,600 per month. Now, their sources at time that they do retire are Social Security benefits. Between the two of them are going to run $5,600.
Since
Three
we
for
know
one,
that's-
26 for the other.
Since we know that's a fixed income source, we can subtract that out of
Right.
the need that they are going to have because when they retire, they will be able to elect their Social Security benefit. That's going to come on a monthly basis. So that leaves us with about $4,000 a month of deficit.
We multiply that by 12.
So that means that Bob and Sally need about $48,000 a year in order to maintain the lifestyle that they have before they've retired.
We divide that by 4%, which is our prudent rate of withdrawal, and that gives us the capital that they need, or as I like to call it, the milk money.
Right. So if we'd like to stay within a 4% withdrawal rate,
Prudent.
giving us the opportunity to live off of the interest and the earnings of your capital.
That's what you really want.
As opposed to depleting it.
That's what they say you can't do, but
exactly.
We know you can.
That means their truly magic number, their milk money number, is $1.2 million.
Now,
4% of $1.2 million.
Where are Bob and Sally, right?
Where are they?
Bob has. Bob's cool.
Bob's cool. Bob's got $1 million in his 401k.
Sure. And Sally has $400,000 in her 403b.
So that means no matter what, Bob still needs Sally.
There you go. This is a good movie. Heroin Sally. Sorry.
That's Harry.
They also have $260,000 in their trust account, which is after-tax account, and $50,000 in Roth IRAs.
So that means with $1.7 million of liquid assets, their withdrawal rate is closer to 2.5% versus 4%.
You know what they get for that?
They're rock stars.
Rock stars because they have more than $1.2 million. So now you know the secret. So let's again review the secret formula for those that are listening either for the last 30 seconds or those that are listening for the last 30 years.
All of this, 30 years, it all starts,
16.
all of this starts with how much money are you spending? I think that, Dad, you make a nice analogy of this often, which is if you think of your household as a business,
Yes.
how much capital do you need to run your business on an annual basis, or making it a little easier to start on a monthly basis? Then determining what are your fixed income flows. You know, some people are lucky enough to have access to pensions. Maybe you have rental income.
On top of Social Security.
On top of your Social Security benefit, which most people have access to in one form or another, be it a peer's pension or if you are a firefighter, something along those lines. You want to subtract your fixed income sources from the amount of expense it takes to run your family every month.
Right.
And that's where we get the deficit where, all of those years of your saving comes into play as to how we are going to replace the deficit between what you are earning and what your fixed income sources are.
Replication. What it is.
Right.
You're going to replace, as you say, but at the end of the day, we're going to replicate the income flow that they had the day after they retired.
Just as the same as the day before.
Perfect.
And in many cases,
that's the secret.
We kind of glossed over the reason why most people end up in the 10 to 15% effective tax rate when we were chatting about this, and that's because we started all of this from what is your net spending versus what is your gross income.
Yes.
Because like we talked about, you're no longer going to have to pay payroll taxes. So your FICA, your Medicare, your Social Security expenses are all those taxes are all going to go away.
Or payroll saving.
Right. We had a little sound effect to go along with that.
For healthcare.
It's really cute.
I don't have a Kramer machine.
Homemade sound effects.
We've got to talk to Mark about that, I could get out. Woohoo!
We're going to come in and you're going to have one of those things called xylophones where you're like ding, 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 ding. Like a triangle.
I have so many cool side effects I would love to do.
Sound effects.
No, they're side effects.
Are they side effects?
By listening to the show, you would have side effects. You'd be smarter.
Well,
You'd be wiser. And you might
make
even have
more prudent decisions about your money.
That's right. You may even have a bigger family. Woohoo. Okay.
It'll never end. For some of us, will it ever? Never.
Will ever end because I love you, honey. You know that. So, the secret is plan for your current spending. That's it. We're going to plan for 100% of your current spending. And the cool part is that we know, and what we usually talk about, we didn't have so far yet today, is that there is a component cost that we never measure. We don't even try, which is the cost of going to work.
Right. There's gas. There's clothes.
Food.
There's food. There's Girl Scout and wallpaper fundraisers going on in the conference room. There's
Yeah.
happy hours. There's all kinds of things that go along with having to work that we don't say let's subtract a specific dollar amount out
Right.
there, because what happens for most people is you end up replacing that with either going out to work with or going out to lunch with your retired friends or
Yeah, but
doing something
Yeah.
else.
But we also find is that
It's a nice buffer. For
it is a
inflation.
buffer. And what it really does is it does create that inflation buffer. And for the folks that we have worked with for many, many years, I'm talking about those that have been retired for 10, 15 years, they've never asked us for a raise because that buffer was there.
Well, right. And the first thing we did
it
was
worked.
our goal was to fund to their current lifestyle.
Yep.
So knowing that we were trying to hit that number and then creating a little cushion is, I think, those two things combined, what really helps to stave off the concerns that many people have about inflation.
Yes. So I know we've kind of talked about this, but something I like to call is the simple truths about retirement planning. Simple truth number one, and you will probably hear this only on this show.
Focus.
Lower taxable income in retirement means lower income taxes. You'll have the same or lower effective tax rate when you retire.
Right, this is what
No
we just...
one in the world has a higher income tax rate when they retire because their income, their taxable income, is lower. And the other part is, and I think the cool part about this is that when you retire, you actually get to
have more
control the
control.
valves, right, on what you're going to turn on.
Only in a... But I think that's a little... So, the reason that you're absolutely going to be in a lower effective tax rate is because, like we just talked about, you're not going to be paying the same taxes on money coming out. It's not earned income coming out of your retirement plan. It's ordinary income. So you're not paying FICA. You're not paying your Social Security and Medicare taxes.
Yes.
But we also know that Social Security, even for the highest income, even for the highest earners or highest tax bracket individuals in retirement, is always still going to be 15% non-taxable to you. So that's income that you get to deduct. Then, depending upon how you have saved over time, meaning if you have some after-tax money in buckets, be it a trust account, a Roth, or an after-tax investment account, or even savings, you can help mitigate your tax brackets because you can pull from taxable versus non-taxable buckets.
And, obviously one of the very important key processes that we work with our clients constantly on is trying to make sure that we're tax efficient each year in terms of how they receive their income.
Right,
what that level of that income is, because it affects not only income taxes, but also potentially
your Medicare premiums.
That's right, your Medicare premiums. So,
and I think that, a lot of people talk about not paying taxes. This is not the goal because everyone pays taxes in one way or another. You're going to pay sales tax, even if you're not paying income
gas tax.
You're going to
Sure.
pay. The goal is to pay moderate to even balanced taxes over the course of time versus putting yourself in a situation where you've significantly decreased your liquidity. For example, if you have a relatively substantial after-tax account and you are trying to avoid taxes on your Social Security, well, theoretically, you could live off of your after-tax money until it is liquidated.
Or you hit 70.
Well, even if you hit
and you
70,
have to take Social Security.
even if you take, but Social Security could be non-taxable to you if you have no other income. So if you're trying to show no other income by you living off your after-tax money, eventually that's going to be depleted. All that you've done is push off taxes on Social Security because eventually, if you want to maintain your lifestyle, you're going to have to start pulling from those taxable accounts, meaning Social Security then becomes taxable to you. But what have you done? Maybe you staved off taxes, but now you've reduced your liquidity because down the line you have nowhere else to go but your IRA, which are your taxable accounts.
Yeah, when you want to buy that last car.
Right, or you want to send your grandchild to college. I'm going to make this work for me. Like I'm going to prep all of these potential expenses that you can just pay for.
I love that you keep thinking about these things. It's great.
You want to send your grandchild to private school. You want to buy your grandchild a pony. All of those things. You don't want to destroy your liquidity because
That's right.
those things will come up.
Well, it's important to have cash for emergencies as well as for the darlings.
Exactly.
The cannibals, as I like to call them. Who will eat all your money if you let them. So you're going to be paying less taxes in retirement
And you have
because
more control.
because your taxable income is. Number two is you're going to control the faucets, as Aaron was saying. Is you get to decide what sources and when you want to receive income with your Social Security, with your pension, etc.
Third simple truth. This is a really important one, I think. Choosing when to take your Social Security benefit and your spouse's is under your control. You get to make this decision, of course, unless you get to 70 and then the decision is made for you, but essentially you chose to wait that long. You can take it when you want to take it or when you need to take it.
There's only one mistake, truthfully.
The only mistake that you really, truly can make is taking your Social Security benefit and not following the income limitations before you hit normal retirement age. So if you have we have many individuals in this position where they'd like to retire from their careers, or they'd like to step back from a full-time position in their career, and they've either elected a part-time job or they have stepped back at work, and then they're considering taking Social Security. Well, if your income is over certain limits from 62 when you're eligible.
We're talking about your earned income, your wages.
Right. So if you're 62 and decide to step back and you're considering taking Social Security, if your earned income is over $15,000, then you're going to give back a portion of your Social Security. That's really a mistake because we should wait. If you're going to continue to earn money, we should consider other sources to help you supplement your income.
Well, let's amplify this a little bit. There's really mistakes on two levels, and frankly, I hate both of them. Number one is you end up paying taxes, you're giving money back to Social Security.
Right.
And number two, you've locked in
your
that benefit.
So you lost your 8% increase
every year until you could take it. So as planners, we're really looking at every one of these options and these alternatives.
Right. It doesn't mean
saying,
hey,
does it make sense?
Right.
Not for the purpose, truthfully, of putting off Social Security until either normal retirement age or until 70, which
most people don't do.
Literally none of our clients do that. But when is the optimal time? And the optimal time is A, when you need it, and B,
when you're not going to be giving any of the unnecessary amounts back. And the nice thing here is that this doesn't mean that we're changing your plans. So if you have decided that at 62 or sometime before your normal retirement age that you are going to step back in one way or another, really what our goal is to figure out how do we fund the difference between what you are going to receive and what you need without Social Security if that's the position that we're put in. It's not about saying no, you shouldn't retire altogether.
Yes.
So it's really just about making the road as well lit for you as possible on whatever journey you're taking.
Honey. That's a good way of putting it. And number 4, which I think is the most important, the fourth simple truth. Healthcare is different in retirement. It's better.
Yes, there are a lot of concerns, fears, and misinformation, I think, about Medicare, and that's because it is a government program. So it can be complicated. The rules are excessive, and that's why it's important that you work with an individual that's an expert in not only the Medicare regulation.
She's talking right now, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
You're
but
welcome.
also in the plan options that you have available to you, because Medicare itself only covers 80% of your medical expenses. That's why all of the agents out there are talking about Medicare Advantage plans or supplements, because the goal here is to help you cover that last 20%.
And drugs.
And your prescriptions, because those are things that Medicare doesn't naturally cover. Without a supplement and a prescription drug plan, what you have through Medicare is an 80-20 policy, meaning Medicare will pick up 80% of the actuarial value of your claims, and you are liable for the last 20%. That sounds nice, but the problem is there's no top-end protection for you. So that means if you have a claim of $1 million, you may owe $200,000 of it.
If you don't have a supplement to help.
Right. If you don't have something, if you don't have another insurance product provided by a private insurance company, all of the supplements or Medicare Advantage plans offered are private insurance companies that have government contracts. So that means they have to follow all the rules and regulations that Medicare, which you already have with your A and B benefits, have set out. All they're doing is creating a cost-sharing relationship with you, either through premium that you pay on a monthly basis to cover that last 20% for you, or through a managed care plan where you're participating through copays and coinsurance to help the insurance company help you cover the last 20% that Medicare doesn't cover.
Honey, that was perfect. That was a perfect segue into the introduction of our newest show, Medicare and Me.
Or me.
Well, and actually, which will be airing every Saturday starting
October 2nd.
Which is on the first day of open enrollment.
The second day of open enrollment.
From, I would like to say, I believe it's going to be 3 to 4 in the afternoon.
Times could vary depending upon Mizzou scheduling.
That was my original time slot with the station.
So it's good luck.
16 years ago.
Kismet, is that what they call it?
That's right. And this will be a show that Aaron will be running. And it's going to be strictly dedicated to Medicare. Going to answer all those questions. Perfect time for open enrollment.
So if you have questions, start writing them down.
You better believe it, because Aaron will be Aaron and her associate.
Frank. Newest member of the team.
Exactly.
Been with us since March, preparing for this moment.
We're very excited about this because we're going to dedicate an entire hour to answering your questions about Medicare.
Every week.
Every single week. For at least 12 weeks. And maybe forever.
And maybe forever.
Can I show up on the show?
We'll have to take a poll on that.
Okay.
We'll see what Team Jeff says.
Well,
I mean, if I'm going to lose any Team Jeff listeners without you around, then we'll have to.
Yeah, I guess
have you come along.
I mean, I'll just do. I'm just gonna. If I would do anything, I would probably be
like
the moderator.
eye candy or something.
Yeah, kind of like that. I'll just keep the show flowing, as it would be. Yeah, Medicare and grandkids. I'll have to figure out the connection, or Team Jeff will help me.
I know Team Jeff will help you. They are out there ready, willing, and texting.
But again, understanding that you're actually walking into, when you do turn 65, the best health care that you can get. Better than you have today, period.
In most cases, your Medicare policy will cover more at a less expensive amount than what your current health insurance does. And that's truly because Medicare is the most expensive insurance you'll ever have. You've been paying taxes for it your entire working life. You're going to continue to pay taxes for it even while you are retired because you're going to pay your Medicare Part B premium.
Plus the government is subsidizing it tremendously.
Well, of course, but if you think about it, many people when we're chatting, because the benefits are so good,
they're great.
Say, well, how could this be? How can you get all of this for what I'm paying? And I just like to say that if you looked back over time, over every paycheck that you've had a Medicare tax deduction for it.
Yes.
So you've been paying for this your entire working career. You get a little discount on the back end. And it's not free, though. There's nothing free about Medicare. It's just reduced cost because, like you said, Dad, it's been subsidized over time by not only yourself, but everyone else that pays taxes, which is that, you're going to pay your Medicare Part B premium depending upon your income. And then depending upon a supplement or Medicare Advantage plan, whichever you choose, you're either going to pay more premium or you're going to pay copays. Although Medicare is less expensive and has excellent benefits, there are still some misconceptions about cost. It's not free.
And you're going to cover those in the show.
Which is going to be everything people want to hear.
Which is going to be very exciting. I know the text line will be going crazy.
The most fun show about insurance you've ever heard.
Maybe you'll actually let me take the text line.
Not ever.
Okay.
Going to happen.
You're still walking today. Okay. So again, just to outline our 4 simple truths. Again, number 1, lower taxable income in retirement means lower income taxes.
Yay.
Number 2, you have control of your sources.
So that means you have more control over your taxes.
Which is even more fun. Number 3, taking Social Security is your choice for you and or if you do have a spouse.
And there are very few. In fact, we can only see one mistake that you would make.
Right. There are never any mistakes. It's always shades of color. And the last one is healthcare is different, but it's better. And the cool part is Erin, as she has helped our other clients, can really explain to you and for you what your actual costs will be in retirement so you can plan even better.
That's right. So if you happen to,
right?
Because there are some people out there that may say, I've seen Medicare and my prescriptions are really expensive. That is true. Medicare does not cover prescriptions as well, especially if Medicare does not cover brand name and specialty prescriptions as well as other private insurance might. Generics, it does an excellent job. So if you're a person that maybe you have to spend a little bit more on your prescriptions, the nice thing is we're able to quantify that dollar amount and then work it back into your expenses to say, you were paying $20 a month for this prescription. Maybe on Medicare it's going to be closer to $100. That's a significant difference. We're going to be here to make sure that that your budget can handle that.
That's what I'm talking about. Planning, which is important. Cool. Well, good. And again, our phone lines are open. 931-5877, star 5877 for cell phones, or 84126 from the currently quiet.
Team Jeff line.
Team Jeff, 84126. Text line, as it would be. Good. I think that kind of covered our smart choices about your healthcare section today.
Okay.
Sponsored by our very good friends,
Aetna and Anthem of Missouri.
Thank you so much for sponsoring our show. We do appreciate that. Let's go to an email, honey, that we received. And this one could be a short or medium or a long conversation, depending upon
your mood.
How many breaths I have in my body.
My goodness.
Client wrote us this email last week. And she said, I've been talking to a friend.
We love friends.
We love friends, especially ones that aren't licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to ask you a couple of questions. Based on my income.
Here are the questions, by the way. They're coming forth now.
Yes, based upon what you know about my income, about $2,500 a month. Minimum other income sources, because it's really your Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that I'm in a zero bracket. Answer is true.
Right.
Starting 72, I'm going to be required to pull certain amounts of money from my 401k, which is actually an IRA at this point.
Right.
Around 4%. That will be passable to me and most likely push me into a higher bracket, maybe 22, but at least 12. Wrong.
Well, the questions are already...
Right. Be careful with this idea because Social Security are not taxable until overall taxes reach $25,000. Right. Your financial advisor will need to know about any income you may have.
Well, you've now confused everyone.
Yes.
Our client had her friend write the questions down.
Yes.
To explain. So that's why it sounds in third person.
I think the friend listens to either too much radio or reads too much internet.
Some people really love to make the game harder than it has to be. I think that's really what this is.
We call it Yenta.
That's a little extreme. Some people just really enjoy the minutia of things to the extreme, sometimes to the point where you've spent more time than the value of your time doing something. If you think about time is money, right? Even if you're retired, you're going to spend all this time doing these calculations. Some people enjoy it.
Yenta.
Okay. I'm just trying to defend our
Or if you're
former
from Pittsburgh, it's Yenti. But
just defending our former accountants, engineers, and general.
Yenta. Okay. So what's going on here? Well, we know that as a single person, our particular client, she's single. She can earn distributions, taxable amounts, up to $25,000 without having to pay any tax on her Social Security benefits. Now, in her particular case, she has a Roth IRA, which, by the way, doesn't mean anything.
That's irrelevant, right? That's irrelevant to the required minimum distribution conversation.
But she did have an IRA account of approximately $550,000.
Okay.
Now, assuming a 4% withdrawal rate,
which is slightly high for
but
the
that's
first.
Okay. It's like 387. She's going to have about a $22,000 taxable distribution at the age of 72.
Right. And so some people are like, though then obviously she'll be over $25,000, except for the fact only half of that income is counted in the calculation.
Yes. So will her Social Security be taxed? Answer is no. The other question would be, is there a way? Let's say it was higher.
Ooh.
Let's say it went over that number.
Okay.
Is there a way to get that number down?
Yeah, pay taxes now.
That would be one dumb idea, right? She could take distributions today. If she needed the money, if she doesn't need the money, we know rule number one.
Never pay taxes on money you don't need.
Thank you.
Unless your friend makes a suggestion here.
Exactly. And they're not licensed, so we don't listen to them. What option do retire? There's only one, honestly. There's only one real option a retired person has to reduce the level of their required minimum distributions.
Charity?
Charities. Right. Now, we know this lady. She's a charitable person.
It just so happens she is an incredibly
list.
charitable person.
Incredible.
Very charitable person.
So what we do is like Santa. Look at your list, check it twice. Who are you giving money to?
Dollar for dollar, you can reduce your required minimum distribution as long as you send the money directly from your IRA to the charity. So that means
that's important.
Right. It cannot come to you and then go to the charity. The check has to be, so essentially
one step, not a two-step.
Correct. And for most broker dealers, so for most custodians that are holding your money, it's going to be called a third-party distribution because it's not going to you or another account that has your name on it. It's going to a third party. You'll have to sign separately to authorize that, but the check will be made directly out to the 501c3 that you've selected. And so in this case of our client where we mentioned the distribution, the required minimum distribution is going to be about $22,000. Every dollar that she sends to charity will reduce that $22,000.
So let's just use an example. Let's say for fun, instead of it being $550,000, that it was $700,000. So we're looking at about $28,000. So that we know that that would be the distribution. So we know that in theory, she's about $3,000 above that level. Well, if she were to say, Aaron, because Aaron does the paperwork.
Aaron does do the paperwork.
Aaron, yes. I think I'd like, every year I'm sending $1,000 to my church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending another $500 to the Wounded Warriors. I'm sending another $500 to the 9/11 committee. Cool thing. I'm sending another $600 to St. Jude's Hospital, whoever it would be. Mm-hmm. If that total amount were to add up to $3,000, she gives that away. The reportable requirement of distribution would then get down to $25,000 or less. And guess what? Woo-hoo! Benefits are not taxable under Social Security. That's the only way.
That is the only way.
That's also another reason why, in this question, should she consider a Roth conversion? No.
Well, there's not enough time. Because if the goal here, the
truth is, it's still a never.
It's still a never, but here, this is all that would be happening, which is that you still have that $25,000 limit to bump up against threshold to bump up against every year. She already has a Social Security benefit that's totaling more than $10,000 a year.
Yes,
and she how old is this emailer of client?
72. Let's say she's 72.
You can't be 72 yet.
70,
she's 70.
Okay.
So she only has 2 years. That means she's going to convert $20,000 maybe from IRA to Roth, which means her $750 went down to $730, which really means
nothing.
Almost nothing in terms of a distribution amount. So all you did was nothing.
Well, I mean, the other thing in her particular situation, she doesn't need the money really.
Right.
But if she's taking the required minimum distributions, let's assume that we're staying under this $25,000 level.
Right.
Okay, even after she's given money away.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she convert her IRA? Why would you convert and pay taxes at a higher rate than 10%?
Especially,
maybe?
Right.
And then you're going to pull the money out tax-free? Are you kidding me?
Well, she's not going to ever pull the money out tax-free since she doesn't need it. Since she's not spending it now.
Makes absolutely no sense. So, don't listen to your friend.
Okay. Well, on that note, we had a text that I thought we could break up this
go ahead, babe.
moment with.
Please.
Can you let me know how much I can make if I turn 64 in February, please? So I'm assuming that means how much you can make, how much earned income you can have if you elect your Social Security benefit at 64.
And assuming you're not 65 is when you're
that wouldn't possibly be. Right? Because
I
think it's going to be 67 if you're 65 now.
Okay.
Or 64 now, right?
No.
I'm
66 and 6.
And how old are you?
64 and 3 months.
I thought you were like 57.
I know that. You can have it right home. I still want grandkids. Okay.
Can I answer this person's question?
Yeah, they can only earn $15,000.
No, I have this. I went to Google.
Thank you.
And decided to get the very specific numbers since we were asked a very specific question.
Great.
In 2021, the limit is $18,950. Wait, Yep, that is correct.
18.9.
18.9 is the most that you can earn.
Until the year that you're turning 66 and 6 months, which is what this person would be.
Right. Well, until it's the year that you reach your normal retirement age. So
in which case it then goes to?
It will go to
40-something, right?
Well, last year it was 48,600, but this year it is 50,520.
So it could be 52,000 by the time another year.
Another year or so, correct?
So it could be 18.9 now, and probably around 52 later.
That's exactly right.
So
18.9 and 50.
And that person is my age, so oh yeah, babe, alive, well, kicking, and also probably looking 50 years old like me.
Right.
Right.
But the other thing that you might consider here is your gross income is what is going to be calculated. However, it is going to be used to calculate this number. However, your gross income can be reduced by if you are still making IRA contributions, if you're still making 401k contributions to your retirement plan, if you have a health savings account.
Yes.
All of those things will help reduce your gross income. So theoretically, you can earn more than that, but your gross total can only be those two numbers.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, honey, you're right, because if somebody was in that position, we know that because of their age, they were grown up over 50.
Right.
They could, in theory, even with the catch-up provisions, put away almost $24,000 a year.
They could put up, right, but most likely they're probably living off of some of that money.
Right. Well, if they could reduce their pay and then take their Social Security.
Yeah, but then you would lose the 8% growth, so why would you do that?
And I think that has to be looked at, in a perspective as when do I need the money? How do I need the money? Now, we have a couple minutes left. So let's expand on this a little bit.
Okay.
And, I like to, and this would be kind of fun, because let's take our existing client. She's over 65, the one we were talking about Social Security. She's taking it. Well, what if she was actually working? Would it make sense if she was normal retirement age and take Social Security? Because most people say, well, I'm working. I don't really need the money.
There are some times that you might.
There are a lot of times that you might. I think.
If you are a person that followed conventional wisdom their entire working career and did the vast majority of their savings inside of retirement plans. So you don't have a lot of after-tax money.
Right.
This is a way to start stockpiling some after-tax dollars.
Well, that or the other side, think about it this way. They could increase their withholding on their 401k. Maybe they're not fully funded yet.
You could increase your funding, of
and
your
then
retirement plan.
Take your Social Security and eat off of that money.
Yep, you could do that.
That's a kind of exciting prospect. Let's talk to folks about that. I'm going to come up with some Team Jeffro.
Well,
send me a story next week that we can use.
Well, these are all...
Because that's exciting to me.
Well, these are all interesting thoughts as long as you're single. Because in some cases, it does not make sense to take your benefit earlier because you're trying to bump your benefit up for your spouse.
Well, that could be if your spouse has a significant lower benefit. One other reason I think a big reason.
You're paying off a debt?
Yeah, and usually it's your mortgage.
Yeah, think about if you could take your full Social Security payment and put it towards your mortgage. In many cases, that's either 100% of your payment or very close to it.
Assuming you can put that all aside, that would be great because...
Right. Well, if you're working and don't need your Social Security.
Yeah. Being mortgage-free is one of the characteristics...
of a rock star.
Of a rock star, exactly. You know what the other characteristic of a rock star is? Someone who's wise enough, smart enough, and actually wants to have a few laughs. They go to our website, or they may call us, 314-863-0008, 314-863-0008 for a coaching session. They're fun. They're free. We have huge
and plentiful
biggest
parking spaces.
Parking space you ever see. We have the best coffee in all of it, and Clayton combined, by the way.
And snacks.
And
snacks.
And smacks. And
snacks,
fun,
not smacks.
Snacks and fun gratuities. And more importantly, guess what you have?
Us.
Aaron and me. We hope you have a great 9/11, and see you next week.
opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the Retirement Coach. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. here on the Big 550 KTRS.